Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Vayne updated complete guide again. And now, the reason we're doing this is because shieldbow did get nerfed quite some time ago, and on Vayne we used to start off with the shieldbow. I'm not sure if we have it here. If this used to be our build on Vayne, we used to start off with shieldbow and such, but it's no longer that good of an item anymore, at least not as a first item. So we're gonna of course take a look at a new Vayne build. Now of course we already did an Ezreal guide, supplementary guide earlier on today, and I was thinking of trying to do double videos a day. So I'm trying to think of re-looking at certain champions, you know, when there's an empty slot. So for example, when I do like a basic guide, updated complete guide in one day, and the next day I do a supplementary guide on a certain champion, then maybe in the afternoon, or like depending on your time zone, in the afternoon or night or morning even, I can do another of course video on re-looking at an old champion, which is what I'm doing here. Now, something I do want to mention is that Vayne, at the current moment, doesn't really have an agreed upon build, which is really interesting, because if you take a look at like the top 10-20 Vaynes, most of them use different builds completely. Like some people are using Triforce, some people are like using Stormrazor, and even people who are using the same items are using them in different orders. So really, I think Vayne doesn't really have a best build right now, because even the top like 20 Vayne players can't agree on a best build. But of course, I have my own opinions, and this, in my opinion, is what I like to build on Vayne. So basically, a lot of items here are flexible. I'm going to explain why and how. But the main concept is your first 3 items are going to be attack speed items. Generally, your first 2 items are going to be Blade of the Rune King as well as Phantom Dancer. Now, which one to go first kind of depends on your preference. I personally like Blade of the Rune King first, because I feel like the physical Vamp has saved me in numerous occasions, even like when building the Vamp Scepter on the way to Blade of the Rune King. And when I get the item itself, I think that, of course, the lifesteal is something that has saved me multiple times, which is why I like to go for it first. Obviously, aside from lifesteal, you also get a little bit of AD, a little bit of attack speed, as well as, of course, your Rune Strikes passive and your Drain passive. However, I think the more popular item to go first is actually Phantom Dancer, because Phantom Dancer, if you notice, between Phantom Dancer and Blade of the Rune King, the main difference is Phantom Dancer has like 5 more AD than Blade of the Rune King, but it has, I think, like 20% more attack speed than Blade of the Rune King. So you get more attack speed earlier on, which basically seems to be like the better way to go majority of the time, because Vayne wants attack speed. But as I said, it's a little bit of preference, but I think objectively probably Phantom Dancer as the first item is probably better, because you could argue that, you know, with Phantom Dancer I could have maybe gotten more kills than I would have with Blade of the Rune King. So of course, aside from that, it gives movement speed as well. Now for the boots, most of the time you actually want to go for Gluttonous Greaves, because now that it's Omnivamp, it works on your true damage off your W pop as well. So most of the time you do want to get this to of course get more healing. And then for your third item, you have 2 choices. The first choice is going for Solari Charge Blade, and this basically gives you again more attack speed, ability haste, crit, as well as the on-hit magic damage, which you proc a lot because you can tumble a lot. So on-hit magic damage as well. So as I said, these first 3 items are going to be attack speed, but if you're into a heavy AP team, then it's way better to go for Wit's End. Just that, of course, Wit's End gives you 45 attack speed, 50 magic resist, and of course the on-hit magic damage, and heals you when you're below 50% health. So altogether, objectively, these 2 items are really similar. 40% versus 45% attack speed. Both gives on-hit magic damage. One gives more on-hit magic damage in sacrifice for less healing, and of course no magic resist. So basically, in situations where there's little to no magic damage on the enemy team, you want to of course go for Solari Charge Blade, which is the default. But in versus high magic damage comps, you want to swap it out to a Wit's End. Then after that, for your last 2 items, you start heavily investing into lifesteal, because now you already have 3 attack speed items plus lethal tempo. It's more than enough attack speed. So what I like to go for here is shieldbow and bloodthirster. So both of these of course give you physical vamp, attack speed, and crit. Whereas shieldbow gives you the lifeline passive, whereas bloodthirster of course gives you more physical vamp as well as the bloodthorn shield. So which order to build it, once again, is sort of situational. Now in matches that I don't get bursted down by any like assassins or divers, I will go for bloodthirster first. But in like 90% of matches, normally someone can one-shot you, so normally you're gonna go for Immoral Shieldbow first. So that is it for the items. Now for the runes, not normally, I always go for lethal tempo. Now, lethal tempo plus your 3 attack speed items is gonna give Vayne like almost the maximum amount of attack speed. You're gonna realize you attack very, very quickly from 3 items onwards, and on most other champions, I think that this is a problem in the sense that there's no point having so much attack speed. I like to go for Kraken Slayer or Conquer, but for Vayne in particular, because her main damage comes from her W and she basically wants attack speed as her most important stat, I think that having lethal tempo is optimal and ideal here. Then for the second rune, I personally like Hunter Vampirism. Although it doesn't work on the true damage, it still works on like everything else, so I still like going for that. But I've seen a lot of people who like to take Brutal instead, or some people even take Sudden Impact, although it's not very popular nowadays. In my opinion, Giant Slayer doesn't really help Vayne all that much because you already have the true damage, and that's the main way you shred tanks. Your basic attacks are not the thing that's shredding tanks, so I don't personally like taking Giant Slayer. So for me, it's normally Brutal or Hunter Vampirism. Of course, for the second rune, you want to take, of course, either Bone Plating or Perseverance. I took Perseverance this match, not this match, but previously, because certain matchups, most matchups you play with Vayne, you have a lot of CC and you're very close range. So I think Perseverance is a lot more common on Vayne than a lot of other champs. Of course, Bone Plating is still a good option. And then, of course, I like taking Nimbus Cloak for my final option. Now, you could also take some other runes. You could, of course, go for Sweet Tooth, and you could even go for Manifold Band, because Vayne uses a lot of mana, and I think Manifold Band is not even that bad of an idea. I think it's a pretty good idea. For the spells, of course, I like taking Ghost and Flash all the time because Vayne movement speed is very, very important to kite in and out of fights. And of course, when Vayne is exhausted, she still does true damage using her W pop. So your main damage cannot really be reduced. So anyways, with all that out of the way, let's jump straight into talking about the gameplay. Okay, so now taking a look at the gameplay of course, this new build. Now, I think that Vayne in the previous, not even in the previous patch, it's more so of before Ornn and Volibear came out. I think that she was a lot worse, and I think that she's actually benefiting from how popular Ornn and Volibear is, because I think Vayne is absolutely amazing against the both of them. Because Volibear, you know, he needs to jump onto you. If he's not ulting you, if he's running at you, you can just condemn him away. He can't really do very much to you. If he's ulting you, of course, it's the same as any other ADC. You can't really do very much. He's unstoppable. But when he lands, you can, of course, shove him away. So you're pretty good into Volibear. And, of course, Volibear is tanky, so you can, you know, of course, shred Volibear up. Same goes with Ornn. Ornn is, of course, very tanky. You can shred Ornn very easily as well. And furthermore, Ornn, of course, also has two forms of CC. One is his charge into a wall, and one is his ulti, both of which is very easy to avoid using Vayne's Tumble, which I will probably see later on in this game. So, regardless, here you can see we're not doing too hot. Of course, Vayne is not the best at early levels, and we took a pretty bad trade. But we'll probably see how you can dodge a lot of Ornn's kits and pretty much make Ornn very useless against you. And of course, you farm, of course, Ornn very easily, because you can just shred through all of his armor and health, and you know you're gonna be in good shape. So anyways, here you can see we're playing against a Veigar ADC, which is definitely not troll. I don't know why a lot of people think that playing an APC is troll, but it definitely isn't, because APCs can definitely be good in the ADC role as well. I see people think it's troll because every time I play an APC in the ADC position, which I've done a couple of times now, there wasn't even one time I didn't get flamed by my team, which I find very, very interesting, because there really isn't a problem with that if there's other AD on the team. Like, if I have a Yasuo in the mid and a Master Yi in the jungle, having an APC could actually be optimal, because you already have two forms of like AD DPS, and you're missing like you know, magic damage. I really don't know what the problem is. It's not like I'm picking it in random team comps. I only pick it like, you know, when it's good, but I don't know why I always get flamed for it. So anyways, when you take a look at his team, it probably isn't the best. They probably do need an ADC. They don't have any consistent AD damage, but that's not the point here. My point is, you know, why people are quick to flame people playing APC for no good reason, in my opinion. Anyways, you know, enough about that rant. Let's get back into talking about Vayne. So, of course, Vayne, you generally want to play conservatively in the early stages of the game. Here against Veigar, who arguably also wants to play conservatively in the early stages of the game. So it's kind of like from fighting just now, we're kind of now just handshake and like just farming minions. Like, I'm farming, he's farming, and pretty much that's about it. Here, of course, Janna is setting up some tornadoes to see if we can hit. If we can hit tornadoes, we can probably get a free trade and just back out. But since the tornado did not hit, we're just gonna continue on farming. Here, we're gonna set up another tornado and see if it hits this time. Nope, it does not. So here, we're just gonna continue on farming. Gonna take a control ward away from the bush as well, since we have push. And you can see that their Nautilus jungle is actually on the opposite side of the map. So now we know that we're relatively safe here. Nothing too much can happen, and we're kind of just proceeding on to continue farming. Now here we saw Vega back briefly on the minimap, so we're going to assume that he is back fully. So here we're going to shove out the wave, as you can see, just focusing auto attack on the wave, and we can even get a plate because of the fact that he actually backed. So here we can pick up a plate, and now we will back. And yeah, so this is a very interesting situation because obviously Veigar as a mage with AoE damage onto the wave should have push priority against a Vayne. I'm not sure how did he get out pushed by me, but he chose to recall even though he really didn't need to actually, and because of that we got a free plate. So we take what we can get. It's probably not gonna happen majority of the time, but if such a situation arises, we have to of course take advantage of the situation and take whatever we can. So here you can see pretty interesting stuff happening on the map. Ornn has gone for a roam to mid, whereas Zed has already recalled. He gets spun up by a control ward, and he's now, I think, like taking the skull, which is a really interesting thing for a top laner to do. I guess he is against a Nasus who is also just farming up his stacks and doing nothing much. Now here you can see I back again, and the reason I do that is because I have Blade of the Rune King on base, which I'm gonna get right now. And the dragon is of course going to spawn in 20 seconds, same goes for Herald. So if we are fighting for the first objective, I do want to have my first item. Now in this case, I'm kind of sacrificing like a wave to get an item, which it kind of does suck to do that, but having a power spike at a dragon fight is a lot more important, and you don't want to of course back when dragon has already spawned. In this case, we could have actually done that because our jungle backed right as dragon spawn. Our jungle is of course the Irelia, so in this case it wouldn't have mattered, but in a lot of cases you want to be on the map, you want to be at the dragon when the dragon fight happens, and that's of course a really important detail. So here I'm just trying my best to take farm before having to rotate to the dragon, because you can see that the enemy bot lane is kind of posturing towards the dragon, but they're not actually there yet. Same goes for my Irelia. She's walking towards the dragon, but she's not actually there yet. Now that she is there, I'm here on the rotation to of course quickly help her to burst down the dragon. We don't know where the Nautilus is, but we have control warded the bush and prevented any any vision over here. Here Diana tries to come in. I'm gonna ghost and flash away. Here I'm gonna run down the Veigar, but realize that he's running a bit too far away. I'm gonna get the kill on the Karma instead, and we're going to of course go onto the Diana, which we do manage to get. Veigar comes in with the ultimate and able to get a kill off of that. Here gonna have to back out and roll away from the Veigar cage, and here overall we did pretty well. Scored 2 kills onto the Karma and as well as the Vayne. Now here we're gonna just dive the Veigar, condemn him into the wall, and just blast him down, and we barely make it out alive. That last tower shot would have killed us, but we thankfully did not get hit, and now we're alive. Karma is back in the lane though. Of course she is respawned from that death at the dragon pit, and now she's back. So here we're just gonna take a reset. Both me and Jenna low on health and mana, and we don't want to stick around any longer than what we did. So here in this match I've actually opted to go for the Wit's End as a second item, which is another option that I didn't really mention just now when I was going through the build, but because this rarely happens. But you can see in this match that pretty much I'm playing against an almost full AP team. Of course Ornn is AD, we have Nautilus who's building tank, but he does AP damage, Karma does AP damage, Veigar and Diana also do AP damage. So in this match there really isn't a reason to not go for Wit's End as a second item. I probably should have gone for Phantom Dancer as my first item since I was going for Wit's End as a second item, because delaying Phantom Dancer to third item kind of sucks. So probably a build mistake in this match, which you don't really want to do. Phantom Dancer has to be one of your first 2 items, so I should have gone for Phantom Dancer first, and then I should have gone for the Wit's End second. So anyways, here Now that that's already done, nothing much we can do here. So now we're just going to continue building towards its end, and here we can see we shoved in the wave and we're pushing in the Veigar and the Karma. Karma is back, so we know that Veigar is actually alone, but he deletes our wave and we are unable to actually get off a dive on him. We could pretty much do the same thing we did to him just now, which is we roll in from the side, condemn him into the wall, and just pick up a quick kill onto him that way. So regardless, here the next wave is coming. We're just going to push in the next wave, and not really too much we can do in this situation. Janna Tornado does hit, but of course they're on the tower. There's really not a lot that we can do here, so we're just gonna back off. Janna is of course low on health and mana, so we don't necessarily want to be messing around too much. And here we're just pretty much going back to farming the wave. We got decent amount of attack speed now with Blade of the Rune King in our pocket, as well as a recurve bow. Here we get ganked by the enemy jungler, and here I walk straight into the Veigar cage now. I'm condemning the Nautilus away, and I'm trying my best to run. Karma actually auto-targets her Q onto the minions. I would have died if she actually aimed that manually, so big mistake from the Karma there. But big mistake from me there is walking straight into the Veigar cage. Now, I had my flash, and I meant to flash over the cage. So you normally, you're walking towards the cage and you flash. I was walking towards the cage and I tried to flash, but my flash didn't go off, which led to me looking like a fool and walking straight into the cage. But thankfully, either way we don't end up dying, so it's all good. But yeah, that was kind of a very, very ugly moment. But thankfully it turned out alright, and we did not die. Of course, we did have to blow our sums for that, but now you can see I've banked, and in this match I didn't pick up Gluttonous Greaves. I actually picked up the QSS together with the Merc Treads because there's so much CC on this team. Ornn has 2 knockouts, which is not going to help for Merc Treads purposes, but for QSS it is going to do that. Karma of course has her ulti and her root. Nautilus basically his whole kit, his root, his hook, and his ulti, and Veigar of course has the cage as well as the Diana with the ulti. So there's so much CC in this match. We have to go for the QSS together with the Merc Treads. It's gonna help us a lot. And in this match I also went for Perseverance because of course there's a lot of CC, so getting hit by CC and getting the extra defenses is going to be very helpful. Here I'm going to QSS the Karma root because I don't want to be put in a bad position where I can get ulted by Diana. Here Diana tries to ult, I stun her into the wall, and I'm trying to blast her down. I change targets to go for the Karma, which is the easier target. Here, I believe it's the Zed is coming in. Here I'm able to actually pick up the double kill onto the Diana, and I'm able to survive by the skin of my teeth. Veigar is on the run. Here Ornn is actually coming in. Now here I'm actually going to hit back a little bit to make sure I don't get hit by the Ornn. Now that his ult is gone, here I'm just blasting him, as you guys can see. You can see that even when I have like no HP, I'm still blasting the Ornn into next week, because Ornn, as I said, can do very, very little against the Vayne. Vayne is like one of the worst things to play against as an Ornn. Now here Nautilus comes in. Here I'm not just blasting the Nautilus now. We get the kill onto Nautilus, but not before he gets a double. Here Veigar actually flashes into ult me, which, like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of worth because I have a 5-kill shutdown, so I guess if I was the Veigar I would have done that too. So he flashes in, ults me, and I just pretty much get deleted. Nothing I can really do in that situation. So here we have a 1v1 between Irelia and Diana at the Dragon Pit. Irelia is winning though, and she is chasing down the Diana. Now instead, her support sacrifices her life for her to escape, and Irelia is now just gonna solo the dragon. We of course just respawn, and now we are gonna head back out, of course. And on the way out, we're gonna farm up these wolves. Baron is of course going to be spawning in 10 seconds or so, so we of course do want to be aware of that. Now blue buff, amazing for Vayne. Vayne loves blue buff because she spams a lot of her tumble and for her mobility, and of course she uses a lot of mana. So here I get hit by the Ornn knockup over the wall, which I wasn't expecting the Ornn knockup range to be so big, but it kind of was. So here you can see I'm blasting Ornn from the side, and there's nothing he can really do about it. I'm still blasting him from the side. We do get the kill on him. Then we change our next target to the Nautilus. Since Nautilus is in stasis, I'm attacking Karma. I'm running down the Karma. My Karma has gone under the tower, and we're going to focus Nautilus instead. Irelia finishes up both of the kills, and we are able to pick up 4 kills in total in that fight. Only Karma survived, and off of that we can push down mid lane, get the mid lane inhibitor, and we can back off after that. Now, alternatively, we could have gone for Baron here, which I think is probably at this point after the Baron changes and such, it's probably like an equivalent kind of change, because normally I would say last time go for an inhibitor, but now you know, Baron is really squishy to take. Baron, you know, does last shorter as well, so really I still think going for an inhibitor is probably a better decision, but we're gonna see. There's two ways to think about it, right? The first way is you can guarantee an inhibitor if you get it now. The second way is if you get Baron, you're guaranteed an inhibitor anyway. But kind of the second school of thought, the issue I have with that is sometimes teams get Baron and they throw immediately. In theory, if you get Baron, you're guaranteed an inhibitor. But in practice, sometimes you get Baron, half your team resets, half your team does not. Half of the team just fight alone, they die, and like, it just becomes a disaster overall. Happens all the time. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So I like to go for an inhibitor because it's a confirmed objective, confirmed inhibitor instead of having a Baron into an inhibitor. So here, for the next like a while, you're gonna see some shenanigans happening in the top lane. Basically, both teams are just posturing on the top lane for no good reason. I mean, this is opposite side the map of Baron, but it doesn't matter because Nautilus is here, so they're not gonna be doing Baron. So here we have like a 3. It's not even a 3v3. It's like a 3 people in top lane for both teams. Here you can see Nasus is now rotating to another lane. And he's coming back now. So you can see Nautilus, Karma, and I think it's Veigar. It's actually in the same lane. No, Veigar is not in the same lane as he's defending. And Ornn. So Nautilus, Ornn, and Karma are just here, and they're trying to engage on us, but they can't hit. Nautilus can hit a hook to save his life. I'm actually waiting for them to engage on us so that I can start blasting them. I'm against 2 tanks and 1 Karma, so that's gonna be no problem for me. I'm gonna just shred through the tanks and kill the Karma as well. Especially because Karma is building support. So I really want them to engage, but the Nautilus can't actually hit a hook. So it's really difficult. I think we even win this this fight like 2v3, like with just me and Janna, because we have QSS and we have Vale, so we're not gonna get CC'd for too long. So here Karma finally tries to ult. We are able to like basically just escape the ult. And here Nautilus, I think he's recalled. Now there's only Karma and Ornn left here, and basically you can see for the past like 1 minute plus, nothing much is really happening here. We're just all in the top lane and there's just nothing happening. So here we're gonna take the tower and we're gonna try to run people down. Don't want to really run down though. Ornn has kind of retreated back to the second tier tower, as he should. You can see how the mid lane pressure is really paying off because you have people responding to mid lane all the time. Here Ornn, not sure what he's trying to do here. I'm not sure what the enemy team is trying to do here, but my team is just kind of just running away. I think we could have taken the fight, but it's kind of in a choke point, so Veigar and Ornn get a lot of value, so we don't want to take any unnecessary risks. Right before Dragon as well, so we're gonna back. I'm gonna complete my Phantom Dancer here, and we're of course going to start building into our lifesteal items, being of course the Stormrazor, not Stormrazor, being the Bloodthirster or the Shieldbow. None of what I was sprouting there. Anyways, here you can see in the mid lane, Zed is trying to take down Nautilus. Not really happening though. So we have 10 seconds off of Dragon, and once again Arabella is recalling right before Dragon. I think that's kind of troll. Speaking of troll, Zed is kind of just alone by himself in the mid lane, playing with fire here. But thankfully Zed is a really slippery character, so he should be fine. And here I'm gonna just start off the Dragon. Irelia is of course coming over. We have the pit control ward that enemy team can't see anything. We secure our triple dragon. Of course, that's a really strong win condition. And these are the 3 strongest dragons. We got the mountain dragon for the defenses, the infernal dragon for the damage, as well as the ice dragon for the ability haste. Of course, ocean dragon is kind of the worst one because you only get out of combat health regen. Now here we spot Nautilus on the opposite side of the map, and here I'm pinging for Baron because obviously we do Baron really quickly. Irelia does a ton of damage, so do I. Nasus is sort of just distracting them in the mid lane. I think that they probably know we're doing Baron. They look like they're trying to rotate over to this area, but we already secured it before they can reach. Of course, Nautilus being on the wrong side of the map is huge. Now here I see a huge fight in the choke point. Here I'm going in QSS to block the Diana out and try to get knocked up. Unfortunately, here I'm kiting back. I kill the Diana. I'm going onto Ornn next, condemn him into the wall, keep blasting him while kiting up away from the enemy team. Break the Karma, tether, and now kill the Karma. Veigar flashes away on 1 HP, and I'm able to kill the Nautilus for the Quadra. Unfortunately, that 1 HP Veigar that flashed away denied me the penta because he flashed away from me when he was on HP. If I just got that kill and he didn't flash away, that would have been a penta, but unfortunately he runs away and Zed picks up the free kill. Can't really blame him for that. And with all that out of the way, we end the match. So, leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.